was traditional for them to go to Lake Erie at least once a summer. And so the whole Glacier tribe would gather in and away we'd go. Well, Grace was about 16, 18 years old then, and she wasn't well developed up here in the top yet. Her bathing suit wasn't as filled out as nicely as she'd like for it to be. So this one year we got up there and got into our suits and got ready to start swimming, and we were walking out into the water, and I got up at about shoulder level, and Grace was over a little distance from me, and I noticed her looking around like, running out like that. Pretty soon, some paper floated by me, and boy, she was over grabbing it. What in the heck's going on? Here, she had stuffed the top of her bathing suit with Kleenexes, and when she got out into that water, it all started floating out, and she didn't want people to know, and she was trying to grab it all up out of the water. She looked decidedly deflated when she went back to the shore again.
That's so funny. Well, are you a fisherman at this time?
No, I'm no fisherman. I have done some deep sea fishing, but rod and reel or cane pole, no.
How come?
My uncle, I thought it was his first name, Fligger. Anyhow, it's my aunt Selena Fligger.
Glenn.
No, Glenn was the second one. Carl was the first one. I can't even remember the man's first name now. But this one summer I spent with them out their home out in Harbor Road, and part of their property was a big lake, and it was a backup from the old Erie Canal. And he just loved to fish, and he would go down there and spend all day sitting there along the bank with a fishing rod and fish. Well, he insisted I go with him. I was a kid about 7, 8, 9, something like that. And every time I'd make a fuss or make a noise, he'd go, shh. Well, the mosquitoes ate me alive.
Oh my God.
I caught a fish about this long and had to throw it back. And that was the last time I ever went fishing.
Yeah, I think that'd do me in too.
We were there all day long.
I don't know whether I was on this one, but somebody taped me when I had that big red rooster that was such a pet. I could just go out and pick him up, set him up on my shoulder, and he'd we'd talk. And they were down there and out there in the backyard, and I called old John, and he come running up, and I squatted down, and it was all right as long as I sat still. But if I moved, he'd drop that wing, and they've got that on tape somewhere. I never. Maisie, I believe it was, took that tape. But the worst embarrassed.
Get him to tell you about when he and Granny and I were supposed to be farming.
Uh-huh.
He was supposed to take the mules and do the plowing. He'd go one round and stop the mules and get under the belly of one in the shade. And then Granny and I would hoe what he had plowed. And then she'd take the team and leave him laying in the hot sun. She'd take the team and plow around.
Son, wait a minute. I've never been afraid of work. I could just lay right down beside it.
Tell me what it was she was talking about as far as your sermons were concerned.
The worst embarrassed I've ever been. I was in a revival meeting, Colbert County, Alabama. I guess it's on Thursday night during the revival, that I had two texts. And I preached, some 12, 15 minutes on the first text. And I said, now, my co-text is, and there's so much sniggering in the congregation, and I realized what I'd said, how I'd said it. And I said, we'll just stand for the benediction.
That was a good idea.
I thought so.
Becky, for the sake of the people up home, should we clarify what denomination he is?
Oh, well, I don't know that I know.
Oh, I'm a Methodist.
There, that's good enough.
Okay.
I'm a Methodist. But I've never used two texts anymore. I just use one text. A while ago, and I told about an experience we had one time when I was a little fellow in school. Oh, I was 15, 16 years old. And we had a change of teachers and an old man. And on the first day of school, he read what he called his 10 Commandments. And number one, there's a big oak tree right out in front of the schoolhouse at Union Hill, down here in the Oldman community. And the huge branches, and some of them was down where us kids could reach up and pull the limbs. Well, April Fool's Day come along, and we had instructed the kids to all be at school early the next morning. Robert Duncan